Hey guys. Sorry. Sorry. That was weird. I got a haircut. Does it look good? I think so. I don't know. But I did just wake up, so keep that in mind when you're judging me. You guys know me. And if you know me, you know I'm not the type of guy to beat around the bush. I'm not the type of guy to go on a tangent. Like, there was a guy I knew who would go on tangents all the time, and it was like, okay, you're going on too many tangents. And most of all, you know, I hate to go off subject, which is why today I'm getting right to the point. You know, I know I said all that, but in order to get to the point that I'm trying to say, I just realized that I have to kind of build it up. So it's not that I'm beating around the bush, it's that I'm trimming the bush to get to the center of the bush, as one does. I enjoy running. I'm a big fan of running. Starting last year, I started to really get into it. Now, especially in the summers, I like to run a lot. I'm not talking like ultra marathons or half marathons, but I'm talking like 5 to 8 miles, you know, like a decent amount. But because I like to lock in the most during the summers, when the summers start, I tend to be out of long distance running shape. And obviously, to get back into long distance running shape, you have to run long distances. But when I started this last year, I had a dilemma. I had never run the long distances like that before, especially consistently. Where do I build up to get to those long distances? And the answer, my friend, isn't some workout plan. It's not some training regimen that you have to follow. It's one very simple rule. Just don't stop. That's all you gotta do. If you're running 2 miles, let's say you're starting at 2 miles or 1 mile, don't stop until you get to the finish line. Go into the run or whatever you're doing, because this can apply to many things, saying, I'm going to finish this run all the way through. Don't look at your watch, don't look at the time, don't look at the interval of the mile. Just finish the run when you're first starting out, at least. Now, obviously, a marathon runner is gonna wanna look at the time on his watch when he's running. But if you're just starting out and you're trying to get the distance, the time doesn't matter. The distance matters. Now, obviously, I'm gonna build this up to a metaphor like I always do because I'm awesome. But for now, let's just talk about it in the running aspect. Now, when I talk about the distance between 2 miles and 5 miles, it doesn't sound like a lot, especially when people are out here running 100-mile marathons or whatever. But the distance from 2 miles to 5 miles is 3 miles. That's double the 2-mile run, which means if you're gonna run 5 miles and you're only at 2, you gotta run more than double. And how do you get there? You just don't stop. Learn what 2 miles feels like, learn what 3 miles feels like, and maybe learn what 4 miles feels like, but at 3 miles, you can pretty much do 5. You just have to have it up here. If you don't have it up here, you're gonna stop throughout the run. Now, obviously, my theory might be slightly flawed, because if you're injured and you just keep running, you're probably gonna break something or hurt yourself. And you also can't go out there and expect to be able to raw dog a half marathon or a marathon or an ultra marathon, which I think is 100 miles. I actually don't know. You can't just go and do that because you're gonna probably die, maybe. Unless you're Barney Stinson, then you can raw dog it and then your legs will fall asleep in the subway and you'll get robbed.
Finisher. Yeah, you know what I mean.
86th Street.
Now I know this might sound like a stupid law to follow when running, but it's helped me get up to 8 miles. I filmed a video. The only time I ever ran 8 miles, I know I claimed that I run 5 to 8 miles, which is technically true, but last summer I did a video where I ran 2, 4, 6, and then 8 miles to test when you get runner's high. Now I had never run 8 miles before, and I knew it was gonna be kind of brutal, and it was kind of brutal, but I didn't stop. I think I actually peed in the woods. But the reason I was able to run the furthest distance that I had ever run is because I had the idea that I wasn't gonna stop. And I didn't look at the time because it didn't really matter, because all I cared about was getting there and back. 4 miles there, 4 miles back. Now, like I said, don't go out there and injure yourself or die, because if you're running 100 miles, you're probably gonna die if you have no training. But if you're running 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, most of the time, it's not gonna kill you. You can make it from the first mile to the 3rd mile without stopping, even if you're going slow, and you're not gonna break anything. Obviously, listen to your body. Like, don't listen to me over what your body's telling you. Because if I'm telling you, just keep running, and then your heart's telling you, it's not telling you anything because it's dying, because you're having a heart attack, maybe stop running. That was the running portion. I've been talking about that for 14 minutes, maybe a little long. That was the running portion. I want to translate this into the metaphor that I was talking about earlier. A famous philosopher that I often follow, He's a man, he's actually a modern philosopher, I like to consider him. He's a man of many talents. He's a man who can really influence the newest generation. His name is Jay Schlatt. Now, I'm not talking about Jay Schlatt's main channel, where he reacts to TikToks. I'm talking about the Weekly Slap. On the Weekly Slap, people submit weekly questions, and he'll respond to them with his life answers. And one of the things that he's talked about maybe the most on that channel is the idea of pushing a car up a hill. Now, let's assume that the car is in neutral, because I'm just saying you couldn't push a parked car. This channel is actually inspired by the Weekly Slap in the way that it's just talking sometimes about important stuff, sometimes not about important stuff. Now, the whole idea of this little metaphor, whatever, is that if you're pushing a car up a hill, it's easier to push the car once you get the momentum going. So if you're pushing the car up the hill and you keep going, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be able to push the car because you have the momentum going. But if you stop, the car is either gonna roll back or it's gonna lose the momentum. And when you start back up again, not only are you gonna be lower on the hill, it's gonna be harder to start it back up. It's a pretty general struggle. Now, I think that relates to what I'm saying, because if you stop running, you're losing that momentum. It's a little bit different when you translate this into life, I guess, because you can't just not stop, because life happens. But in the grand scheme of things, you can continue going. If I'm building to something big in my life, like for me, that might be YouTube. For me, that is YouTube. I continuously put out videos on this channel, and I put out videos slower on The Nothing Show, which you should subscribe to right now. Now, on this channel, I have the ball rolling. I'm pushing the car up the hill, I'm not stopping. That doesn't mean I'm not taking breaks, but I've continued to put out a video pretty much every week for the past year. On The Nothing Show, I've had more of a problem where I stopped pushing the car up the hill and it rolled back. Between my last video and the video before that, it was like 3 months, which is way too long for me. That's not taking a break, that's letting the car roll back down the hill, that's stopping your run. Now I've been a little more proactive. I'm getting the car started back up. I'm continuing the run, I'm not stopping anymore. I'm gonna stop saying the metaphor now because I think you get it. But I'm working on the video now. I wrote the script, I'm about to record everything, and then I'm gonna edit the whole video. It's gonna be a long video. It's gonna be a good video though, trust me. But that's the whole idea. If you're really into doing something and you wanna get better at it, you gotta keep doing it. In the case of running and many other things in life, that is just not stopping. And just like in the case of running, it's important that if you're having a heart attack, maybe stop running then. Or at least take a break. All right, you know what? You understand the caveats. I understand the caveats, I think. That's gonna be all for today. If you enjoyed, subscribe to The Nothing Show. The link will be in the description. You can also subscribe to this channel right here and check out the newest Nothing Show video right there. It's my personal favorite video that I made, and I think you'll enjoy it too. Peace out. I don't know what's with the sneezing stuff, sorry.